Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Exploding Rage challenge for the movie the movie edition Magnificent Spectacle battles. And basically, getting a really good kind of idea on how you can, really take on this event. Now, one thing I will say, basically, Exploding Rage is very strange, very small, category. Not as small as some others, but definitely not a huge category. It's not a absolutely massive one. I think there's definitely some limitations to it. Now, what I will say is that, personally speaking, I think your best avenue is super bosses, just because I think you've got a combination of units. You've got the Zamasus, you've got the use of the Goku Blacks, and I think this helps out a lot. Other than that, movie bosses is probably your next best bet. You've got all the Broly's, the Int Broly Easy A, the Tech LR Broly, the AGL Broly. You've got Janemba. You've got enough to make it work, depending on which lead you use. Obviously, you can use AGL Broly, you can use Tech Broly. Double Tech LR Broly would probably be the best bet. But the thing is with Double Tech LR Broly is Broly needs to basically pop off, which is fine because Broly does pop off. But then you just need to have enough units to kind of hang around him and not die, basically, to cut a long story short. So just depends on your conceptualization of the team and how you think it's going to work with the units that you have. Now, on top of all of that, to be honest with you, I think the fight itself is not too hard. So it's not as hard as other blue zones, but there are definitely areas where the fight feels pretty tough. So I think the tech phase is definitely something that can catch people by surprise. Whenever you have a boss that's able to literally fire off 3 supers in a row, I think in this clip you're going to see them literally super my unit twice in a row, or 2 times out of 3 attacks or whatever. It can catch people by surprise. So obviously having that tanky first shot unit, there you go, twice in a row. Having that tanky first shot unit is definitely much needed. I think you need that unit that can just eat that damage, soak in that damage, and not cost you the run. Don't be scared to use a Whis here, because the thing is, or an item or whatever it is, because the thing is, both the tech and the int phase, generally speaking, are quite short. So what I would say is, I think if you're able to manage your items and everything, I think you come out pretty on top from this phase. I think it's a very quick one. So you're looking at 2-3 turns max, and the same with the final phase, depending on how strong your team is. So with that being said, I think running your team and having them output big damage, being able to obviously beat the events, I think generally speaking is quite fine. From my side, I think you want to go for speed more than anything else. And I think that's just a better method of integration than anything. So that would probably be what I would suggest. Functionally, I would say really try to focus on bringing a really strong team that can speed through these sections. In terms of rotations for the specific team, obviously we're looking at incorporating Tech Zamasu alongside either Int LR Goku Black or the physical one. Ideally the Int one, and I'll tell you why. The main reason is we're going to be using a Whis, so it's fine. And the Int and the Tech one both lower attack, which is something you can do to Goku. So you can lower his attack, and it does help out. It takes the sting out of him quite a bit, and just enables you to have a much easier time. The physical one is great for damage, so don't be too alarmed to try and run the physical one, but I wouldn't say it's a necessity. So yeah, I would definitely say that's probably the preferred rotation. Obviously, on the other side of things, you just want to run the AGL Burly and Tech Burly. Obviously, AGL Burly's domain is excellent alongside Tech Burly, giving him pretty much everything else that he needs to really, have a good time. And I think, like, ultimately, the two make a great combo. Tech Burly now acts as the perfect first start unit for AGL Burly, who was fine as a first start unit while his domain was up, but then obviously falls off a little bit. Now you don't have any of that problem. So AGL Burly just gets to do his thing in the second slot, absolutely slaughtering it, and Tech Burly in the first slot just absolutely slaughters it as well. So you don't have any distinct limitations or issues with running the two of them. They both run fine, they both function fine, they both do exactly what they're meant to do. So I think ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, I don't see that rotation is pretty set. Very effective, very good, set perfectly, functions great. All in all, just a good, functional selection of units that works really well together. So yeah, that works out great. But for me, other than that, I would say, very much, very much functionally a good team. I think the Super Bosses variant is definitely my favorite right now. I do like Double Tech Burly, but I think his team still needs one or two more units. Turles is great, Broly is great, but remember Turles is scaled off of planetary destruction units, and with Double Tech Burly, and Turles, you look fine, but then until you get more good units there. Turles isn't running his full damage reduction, so he can be caught out a little bit, but yeah. Ideally, like I say, you want to run, for Burly, you want to run that kind of lineup, which is fine. If you've got Tech Burly, obviously I do, but I don't want to run him just because I'm trying to, showcase different teams and that. But generally speaking, I would say, just try your best, just run at your best, and see what you can do. See what you can do with your units and really just try your best, basically, I think realistically for me, it's a pretty fun team to run, and I think with Cell Max as well, just a pretty cool unit to run as well. I like running Cell Max. I think he's really, really cool. And he's a really fun unit to run. He does a great job as well. Very, very, very impressive. Good high volume damage, and that's just what I would run. But I mean, to each their own. A lot's just going to depend on your team and your box. But I think for me, ultimately, I just felt like running this kind of team. I do think it works best. But I would definitely incorporate Tech Burly if I could, or wanted to, I guess, because I could. But you know what I mean. But yeah, that's basically it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching. Bye.